You may have been annoyed in the past because you were not able to reload the MonoX project or the results of a run. Today, I will explain what is saved when and how to proceed to be sure that everything is saved properly. The good practice workflow is the following. So first you create a new project or you do changes to an existing project. Then you do a save as and save under a new name. And this generates a .mlx trend file that contains all the information about the project. Then you click Run, and this generates the result folder with all output text files. To explore the results, you may play with the plots and change the layout or what is displayed. If you would like to save this information, you have to do a save, and this will generate a .properties files that remembers all these plot settings, and at the same time resave the same .mlx trend file. To be sure that this mlx trend file and this one are exactly the same, you need to be careful that between the run and the save, the only thing you change are related to the graphics, and you don't touch the dataset, structural or statistical model. Now let's see this in practice. I have just created this MonoX project from scratch and it's still unsaved. When I do project save as and save it, for instance, as project 1, it's gonna create this .mlx trend file. If I look into this .mlx trend file, it contains all the information about the project as I have defined it through the graphical user interface. Then when I click Run, it runs. And if I go back to my file browser, I now see that I have a result folder with the same name as the project. And in this result folder, I have all the output information as text files. Now I may want to play with the graphics. For example, if I look at the ops versus spread, I may want to display the population prediction too and add the spline. If I would like to recover exactly this information, if I reload the project, I need to save again, and this time I'm going to do a project save, and when I do this, it generates the .properties files next to my project 1. Now if I close Monolix, reopen it, if I reopen the project, I have of course the same project information. I also have the results that are reloaded, and I can generate the plots again. And if I look at the ops versus spread, I see that I have exactly the same layout as before. Now let's see what can go wrong if you don't follow the good practice. The first example is if you create a new project, then run, and then do the save as, meaning that you do the run before the save. Then only the .mlx trend file is saved and not the results, which are lost. What can also happen is if you do a first run, then you change the model and then you rerun and you forget to do the save as. Then the results of the first run are overwritten by the second run and are thus lost. And the third quite common example is if you do a run, then you change something in your project. For example, you click use last estimates, and then you do a save instead of a save as. Then the results will not load when you try to reload the project, because the initial values that are saved in the .mlx trend file that has been saved when you click save, they are different from those used to generate the results. The one in the .mlx trend file saved are the last estimates, but the ones that have been used to generate the results are the previous values. And because the two are not consistent, Monolix will refuse to load the results. If you tend to forget to do the save as before each run, what you can do is to go to Settings, Preferences, and here tick the Save History button, and this will make sure that each time you run, the results are saved in a separate folder and you don't overwrite the previous results. So here, for example, I have done a run. If I go back to my folder, so here I have my project, I have the result folder, and in the result folder I have a history folder, and in this history folder each run gonna be saved in a separate folder with the date and the time. So you are sure that nothing is lost nor overwritten. If MonoX refuses to load an existing project, you're gonna have an error message saying what is going wrong. The most common reasons are the following. So for example, the dataset or the model file are not at their location anymore, or the dataset or model file have been modified outside MonoX and are not consistent with the descriptions saved in the .mlxtrend file, or the mlxtrend file has been modified by hand and contains syntax errors. If a project loads but not the results, the most probable reason is that the mlxtrend file that has been used to generate the results in the result folder is different from the mlxtrend file that you are currently loading. So there is a discrepancy between the project that you try to load and the project that has been used to generate the results. What can also happen is that the project has never been run, or that the result folder has been deleted, moved, or manually edited. So the take-home message is always do a save as before clicking run.